Hey everyone, I just watched the news on President Trump's being shot, and like everyone, I was very frightened. It's difficult news to take in, to process, and it reminded me a lot of the history that I grew up with. There are certain things, certain topics that we were raised not to discuss when we are eating dinner or when we are in company, because it is upsetting for people. And so if there's something sensitive or something that we need to discuss, the way I was raised, which may not be how everybody is raised, is that you call the person aside and you talk to them, and you don't do it in front of everybody and make it embarrassing for the people that are there around you at the table, or like when you're eating or when you're out in company. So I don't know how Canada is, because like I said, when I worked in banking, people were discussing their sex lives after meetings. They were discussing the children's sensitive issues. Even when you go into people's homes, they don't consider that you're a guest in their home. They start talking about their children ablution, like about them peeing and shitting and all that while you're eating. So I don't know, I just don't say anything, because I think, you know what, like, you have no manners. But there's no point getting into a discussion with them, because then they turn around and say, you said it, you are the problem. So I just don't bother to go. Like, if I go to people's places and I'm invited, I see how they treat me, how they interact with each other, with the family. And then if I feel comfortable, then I go back. But if something happens once and I raise it and they don't like it and they say this is our home, I'm like, fine, keep your home. I'm not going to come back into your home. Thank you very much for whatever times we had together, and that's it. And it's the same thing in the banking culture. Their attitude is, well, we fought for these freedoms so we can say whatever we want. I'm like, well, okay, but like, it's not really appropriate in a business environment. But anyway, I guess, that's how it goes. People come from different backgrounds, and what sits well with me obviously doesn't sit well with them. I was raised differently. And these values that I have came through our school systems in Zimbabwe and how we grew up. And it came through our homes as well. There are certain things that we did in our homes, like we would sit at the table and eat together our meals. And during that time, the television would be turned off, because that was our time to have a family conversation, to talk about the day. And later on, as people got their televisions and things, people started sitting in front of the TV and eating, and then you don't really have a conversation, because you're just sitting and watching the TV. So when do you actually talk to each other? But anyway, I keep some of these things. I sit at my table and I eat. Even if I'm on my own, I'll sit at my table. Sometimes I'll put music on, or I'll just leave the TV on in the background. But if I have company, I will make sure the TV is off, and I'll make sure that I'm there with them. I don't just leave them, invite people over, and then put a movie on for them and go sit in my room. I mean, how rude is that? That's what people do to me. They'll say, oh, why don't you come over? And then when I go over, they'll leave me sitting there, and they'll go up to their bedrooms. Or they'll go out, they'll say, okay, you stay here now, we're going out. I'm like, what the hell? So, I mean, I've just learned that maybe my view of life and maybe the way I was raised is not how people are here. Because if I invite people over, I sit with them, I talk to them, I entertain them. I don't just say, okay, thanks for coming now, you sit here, now I'm going out. I mean, I'd rather stay away if that's how people are going to treat me. And I do that with everybody, even with my own mother. If my mother comes over, I'll give her the bed, I'll sleep on the sleeping couch. Or if I know a friend is in trouble, if their alarm is going off in the night or something, I'll say, you can come sleep on my couch. And if I have a double bed or a queen bed, I'll sleep on one side, my mother can sleep on the other side. I don't make people sleep on the floor, and I don't treat people poorly. But that's me. I mean, if people want me to give classes on etiquette or how to behave, on decorum, even the way I dress, this was part of our training at school, in our schools in Zimbabwe. We had to dress a certain way. We had our uniforms. We had to make sure that the skirts were just above the knee. We had to make sure in the wintertime we had trousers and we had a white shirt for school. In the summertime we had short sleeves. In the wintertime we had long sleeves. We had to wear our blazers. We had to wear our hats. So all those things I learned in school. And our schooling, our education standards were very high. But it's very challenging when you come into this environment and it's like anything goes, go with the flow. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's taken a lot of years and a lot of adjustment, but now I prefer to sit on my own even if I have to. Even for Christmas and Easter and all those things, if I have to be on my own, I'd rather sit on my own and enjoy Mass and come home and enjoy it, rather than have to go to people's places and hear about my mother doing this and being too hard on me and hear things. I don't even say anything. And people will talk to other people, and then when they're dropping me off, they'll say, your mother was too hard on you. And I'll just give them one look, like, excuse me, do you have something to say? I don't tolerate that kind of thing, because I went through too much. And then the thing is, when they go and they talk to other people, then my mother gets upset, then it gets taken out on me by the rest of the family. So I just rather stay on my own. It's the same thing when I go on trips. This last time I went home, you have to be prepared. When I went to visit one of our good friends in Zimbabwe, Carmen Fernandez, and her family, the water went out in the house. So I had to use the toilet that is for the workers, for the gardeners. I had to go and use that toilet. So you have to be prepared for things like that when you're going into people's homes, because they are not your family. They are friends, they are extended family, they are not your immediate family. They are not going to love you the way your immediate family loves you. The way that my brother and his wife treated me is how I like to be treated. They gave me a bed, they gave me a room, they welcomed me, they made me feel at home, even the children. That's how I want to be treated. And when they come, I do the same for them. I tell them, my home is your home. I took my brother, I showed him, I said, go inside, go see the bedroom, take a look, see the washroom. Same with the children. Because that comfort level has to be there. If that comfort level is not there and you're treated like you're a visitor and you must be aware of that, I'm not in for that. And even my friends in South Africa, they were so nice to me. Maria Bose, my friend, she put chocolates for me. She put a little, like a spa gift set together. She made it so nice for me, and I didn't expect it. I just wanted to be with her and spend the time with her. But she took me out. She took me out when I arrived. We had a nice meal. We had Nando's, and the time that I was there, we enjoyed ourselves. So, it's different for me. I guess those are my standards, and I know that, but I'm not willing to lower my standards. So if you're not living up to my standards and you don't like them, please do not associate with me. If you like what I've had to say and you'd like me to teach people in your organization or your schools or wherever, contact me. You can contact me either through Facebook or LinkedIn, or you can contact me through HRPA. I'll be happy to do it for you. But again, I'm not saying these are everybody's standards. These are my standards. And I keep them. And I like people who keep the same standards as me. Because we might have grown up poor, but we certainly did not grow up rude. We certainly did not grow up inconsiderate. We certainly did not grow up to discuss topics that are inappropriate when people are eating. And even if I go to my sister's place, I don't go to a place and turn on all the lights and do whatever I want. I ask her. Or if I go to my brother's place, if they tell me we're going to sleep now, we're putting the TV off, I say okay, and I go to sleep. So that's just the way that I am. But it's when you're traveling, especially if you're going back to a place after a long time, you have to be prepared. I was prepared because I said, you know what, I'm going back to Zimbabwe after a long time. Maybe people have changed, I don't know. But I was very pleasantly surprised at how loving people were, how welcoming they were. And that's also part of a reflection of who I am. Because if I was mean to them or horrible to them or didn't keep in touch with them, they wouldn't have given me such a lovely reception. And my friend Colleen Velleman, she took me out. We went to so many nice places in Cape Town on the beach. They opened their home to me. We went out to Table Mountain. So what you give out, you will get back. And if you have the right people around you, the right things happen. If you don't have the right people around you, no matter what you do, you're always going to get the wrong result. So I just thought about that when I thought about Trump. I think it's very sad. Apparently it was a 20-year-old that tried to shoot him or shot him. So I don't know, this gun crime thing, it's terrible. So I just wanted to share those thoughts and to keep praying. I mean, I prayed last night, as I always do, for God to keep me safe and for God to protect all of us who live here in this community. It's nice not to be alone because this is our environment. There's a lot of people around me and we're not alone. So that's important to remember.